Hey guys, I'm back again. Like I said, I'd be talking about the follow-up to it, and technically chronologically the earlier part of it, the Superman Savage Dragon Chicago. As we see now the Man of Steel going to Chicago for their first meeting with Savage. And like I said, this was done by Erik Larsen, both writing and artwork. Although the cover here is Erik Larsen's artwork, but painted over by Alex Ross. Well, you can see the cover right there too. That thing be a bit better. Yep, there we go. And, well, let's just see how, okay, let me for a bit more. I know what people are going to talk about with Erik Larsen, especially his current stuff with Savage Dragon. Yeah, not my thing either, really, with how far it's going. But for the but in the early days when it started out, it was really good. And this came out in 2002, so... this came out in 2002, so yeah, this is still at the point where it's still really dang good, and you still had the original dragon involved, not his son taking over. So let's just see how this went, shall we? As we see, like I said, how the two first met. It opens up with Superman just flying, saying, "It's worse than I thought." As Stryker Island is pretty much, and Island Prison is pretty much in the midst of a riot. He then comes in and finds a bunch of bad guys all breaking out. A bunch of them his own, like Metallo, although it's a very Terminator-looking Metallo. Some of the guys from the Teen Titans villains, Parasite, etc. As they fly in and basically start, fighting him off. As Parasite even comes in and fights them. Again, it's a bunch of action at first as they're attacking. As we then see that he meets up with the Warden, explains everything, and he found Kilgrave, one of the enemies, stuck in a corner. As we then later see Dragon at the same time plowing through, and he finds a bunch of other Superman villains there where they had gotten to, including Silver Banshee, Brainiac, Bizarro, and some of his villains is there as well. And basically he's ready to fight him when Parasite tackles him, but then Dragon just punches him aside. And then, everyone's ready to shoot him. A bunch of, cops are there as they're ready to shoot, but they shoot at Metallo, and he's ready to fight, but then Metallo just decks him as everyone just plows into him, beating him into unconsciousness. As we see one officer get up, and it's like, "Dragon!" We then cut back to the Daily Planet, and one thing to point out about this is actually set back in the early days, back in the late 80s, early 90s, right? But after Lex Luthor, and specifically after Lex Luthor got his robotic hand after kryptonite poisoning and he's dying. But, so at this point, Lois, no idea about Superman, no Lex Luthor stuff. This is where this is set in. And I actually like that. I actually like when they set stuff during those eras. In fact, I got another video planned out that's going to have a similar thing. But anyway, you have Perry White sending Lois and Clark. Sending both of and Lois over to Chicago to help him out because there's an influx of villains there. That's the villains that broke out. And basically, they runs off, and Jimmy's going along with, and then Clark is sent to deal with Kent. Rumor has it that Lex Luthor has had his hands on Overlord's armor. Overlord is one of Dragon's enemies. Luthor's as crooked as the day is long, but the world thinks he's a legitimate businessman. Overlord was the leader of the vicious circle, with Chicago's super cop officer Dragon brought him down. In any case, you should look into it. Overlord's armor? Why would he have that? And it looks right there that Perry looks a bit Jack Kirby-esque right there. I mean, I think that's an interesting idea, but that's why Superman decides to head over to Chicago. And we see this is set during when Dragon was with the Chicago police still. As they're hearing that Superman is going to be showing up to help. Dragon, Superman. I'm sick of hearing that name already. Why are they sending out the big for the big blue and Boy Scout? It's not like he made the big apricot crime-free. I've always been able to handle things in Chicago before. As we then see Superman's arrived to a big celebration. Everyone's so happy to see him. And then Superman decides to take some questions, and asking why are so many of your enemies here? I wish I knew. How long you plan to stay in the city? As long as it takes. Hey, Superman, over here. I have one. How come you wear your underwear on the outside of your pants? What? What? It's a legitimate question. As we then soon see a bunch of, well, Superman's enemies are fighting off some of the Vicious Circle's enemies. As they're trying to teach them who's in charge. As they're basically explaining how, well, basically, they're trying, well, actually, to be fair, there's not much of an explanation of what's going on, why they're teaming up. But we then see Lex Luthor, which looks very nice right there. He's trying, monologuing. I'm dying. A kryptonite ring that I had made, and to keep Superman in check, cost me a hand thanks to the radiation it emitted. Now it appears it will cost me my life as well. I'm dying, but it doesn't mean I need to surrender. Before me lies a salvation. Antonio Segedis constructed an armor that kept his feeble body going beyond its natural life. He downloaded his very essence into the armor itself, as could I. It stands before me now, the most powerful man-made armor on the face of the earth. Booby traps inactive, just waiting for the right man to get into it. And then he starts, basically, again, further thinking it through. But that's why he has the armor, when all of a sudden the Vicious Circle busts in. As he then runs inside into the armor and flies off, as everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. We then see Superman's meeting up with Dragon, and then they find out how the Vicious Circle went over there, and then of course Dragon's chewing on Superman. You big idiot! While you sat around here on your cape, Luthor's pad was raided back home. You lose a sack of Dragon! And it's basically trying to say, like, he can't be everywhere. He may be Superman, but he can't be in the two places at the same time, which is very true. But Dragon's not buying into it until Lois goes over and talks to him. He's an overrated pinhead and showboating beauty queen. He flies in here and everybody just moons over him like he was the second coming. But he's just an incompetent boob. He doesn't know the city. He doesn't know the Vicious Circle. He doesn't know Jack, and that makes him a menace to Chicago and a hindrance to me. He's a vigilante and a spandex-wearing pretty boy who grabs all the glory while stiffs like me do all the work. To which Lois rightfully points out, he's hardly a vigilante. Superman's empowered not only by the local authorities, but by the federal government as well. You two have a lot in common. You're both fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. You're both strangers in a strange land with powers far beyond those of normal men, fighting for the lives of the common man. Yeah. Look, Miss Lane, we're all mighty impressed by his dashing good looks and public acceptance. Oh, come off it. It's not like you've been dealt with such an awful blow. You're far from hideous. Yeah. As we then see, I guess with some of the Vicious Circle, the armor plows right through. Now it's up in the air whether or not this is really Lex or not. But now we see Superman and Dragon are working together as, Dragon's hopping around and Superman's flying as they're trying to explain what's going on. And, Dragon's not giving him an inch. As Superman tries to make clear we're both on the same side. Oh, come off it. There's no point trying to sweet talk me, spit curl boy. I'm onto you. This isn't about Chicago. It's about saving your rep. Yeah, Dragon, no, it's not. As Superman even says, you're dead wrong. As we then cut to back to the Vicious Circle, as one of their guys, I guess, is absorbing a bunch of the energy from Parasite. But it seems that it wasn't wasted, as it looks like one of them is trying to deal with stuff and to save a guy's life. As then we see, Cyberface is what his name is. As we see the Overlord has come to assume control. And of course they say Overlord is dead, and I gave the Dragon instructions on how to do it. So who is the fool? And it's basically they're basically mocking him as he's now in the armor. Basically, the armor was meant to be used to save Cyberface, but then because Overlord tosses him around, again, this could be Lex, I'm just going with Overlord, he basically mocks that he's dying. As we see Superman and Savage still trying to figure out what's going on, and they're pointing out how Dragon's not used to having partners. So, Superman decides to leave, and of course, Dragon's like, was it something I said? Well, sorry, he's not ready to leave, but he's just, Superman, I think it would be a lot more efficient if I just scout the city on my own. Then he says, was it something I said? As, basically saying, Superman mentions he's tired of standing around doing nothing, to which Dragon says, I'm tired of you standing around doing nothing too. Seriously. And Dragon just will not give him an inch, as he just, Superman flies off. He's just trying to figure out what's going on. He can only think about why he's there is while to draw him out, but why? All of a sudden, Overlord punches him as they continue on fighting. We see Dragon and the cops are running in, trying to figure out again what's going on. Oh, and I take it back. This is around the time when Lois and Clark were engaged, as Lois says. I'm engaged. Superman's a thing of the past. Now, whether or not this is after they were engaged, but before she found out the truth, I don't know. But we then see Superman's fighting off a bunch of her and his bad guys, and Dragon comes in to help as they knock everyone around. Superman even blasting Brainiac and... Okay, Larsen, this was when Brainiac was still a human being. So Superman just killed him, even though we know he'd be perfectly fine coming up next, but he wasn't a robot yet. You even drew him into human form. That's probably the one big problem. Wait. Oh, turns out a bunch of them were, looks like robots. Actually, no, I take that back. A bunch of them were robots, like Bizarro and all that. Never mind. Okay, I take that back. My mistake. As they continue on pounding through a bunch of them, it turns out it was Parasite, though, is very much real, as they are soon both knocked out. Everyone, and Lois is worried about what's going on, as someone points out to them what's going on. We then see that Cyber Force is all hooked up and basically trying to absorb everyone. When Alex Wilde, that's the female officer, shows up, shoots everything, and basically knocks everything out. As we then see Superman flying and pounding on Overlord, Parasite grabs onto Savage, trying to absorb him, but Superman knocks him aside, and basically they continue on fighting until Superman knocks off Lex and Overlord's mask, revealing Lex. To which Superman says, "You've lost, Luthor. I've got you as last." As Lex seems completely bewildered. We then see everyone starting to get out as it looks like and Dragon pulls off some type of weird chip from Parasite, knocking it out. Turns out it was keeping him controlled, knocking Parasite out as Dragon pounds him. As Superman's taunting Lex, as Lex continues being bewildered. As basically Cyberforce still weak, Superman's foes are as they were, and the Man of Steel will soon return. And they decide to leave, as they decide to make a plan for another day. Luthor walks because he's under his control, and basically everyone's Superman's completely pissed off. And when Lois asks, "I can't tell if you won or lost," Dragon thinks, "Won." Superman, "Lost." Lois then decides to take him out to dinner, his treat, as they head out. As even Dragon thinks, turns out he's not such a bad guy after all, for a man who doesn't put his underwear on properly. Okay, this was interesting. Although I felt like you were having Dragon be too much of a, paint stick in the mud about Superman the whole way through. And I'm sorry, the way Superman was about Lex at the end, when Lex is clearly bewildered, but Superman thinks, oh, it was clearly Lex who was behind it all. When if you read it all, Lex really had nothing to do with it. So, I don't know. That ending felt a little bit too much like, why? Why is Superman thinking like, I got you, Lex? You were behind us all. When it's very clear, Lex is like, what, huh? And then, of course, he thinks he lost because Lex got away. I don't know how to take that. But overall, had a bit more of a plot than the last one. Not that much, but for first meeting, again, it's the whole notion of, the two are, at least Superman's trying to, make the best of it, and Dragon's the one who's not giving him an inch. But eventually comes around to it. And I wish I understood the villain's plot a bit more. It was just all over the place, but for the most part, it was still fun. So that's Savage, Dragon, Superman, both of them. This is the Chicago one. We released it the same day as the first one. Happy Easter. If not, hope you had a happy Easter. And next time, it's going to be another Superman crossover, but this time with a certain green guy who loves the smash. Catch you all later. See ya.